Welcome to Ranking of Video Game Movies, episode number 10. We're reviewing Resident Evil, the original movie from 2002, starring Mila, and I'm going to get this wrong. What did you say, Kudro? Jovovich?
Mila Jovovich.
Jovovich, with the Y sound. As Alice, the main character. And yeah, I can pull up a little plot summary real fast, and we can kind of go through it. Stop me if you guys want to add anything.
Yeah.
But the story's set around the Hive. It's an underground research laboratory. I think like a half mile below ground.
Yeah, some like sort of research laboratory.
Under Raccoon City, or Raccoon City, as they say in the movie. And it's run by the Umbrella Corporation, which is an evil capitalistic corporation that has no regard for
allegedly.
Right, allegedly. But it seems like it's kind of does everything. Just, it does pharmaceuticals, it does home products. It's the evil corporation. It's
deadly zombie viruses.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But secretly, they're manufacturing a deadly zombie virus, like Colton said, a biological weapon. And so the main character, Alice, she's a security operative. We don't know it in the beginning. The plot device they kind of use is flashbacks to kind of make the story.
Yeah, in the beginning, they all get hit with magic dust that like makes them forget what happened. They have short-term memory loss, so that's why none of the characters remember who they are.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we kind of open up in the Hive, and stuff's going down. It's kind of innocuous. We're not really sure what's happening, and then all of a sudden, this place is locking down for a reason that we kind of see. Of a vial gets thrown by some person, and then it's obviously something dangerous. So the AI system locks it down.
And then it locks it down, you mean it kills everybody?
Yeah, it kills everybody, yeah. Because obviously something bad is happening with that vial that was broken. And the last thing you see is the people in the elevator. You think the elevator is going to drop down, but then it stops. And then they try to push a woman out of the elevator to escape. But then the AI system sees what's happening and decapitates the girl. So she's stuck with her head out. And
can we also say that's not how elevators work? So if you've ever seen horror movies with fucked up elevator things, that's not how elevators work. So they have these teeth in them that when they're gonna fall, like that tooth is gonna push out. Like that's how they're built. Like you're not gonna have that elevator scene that you see in this movie. Like that's just not how the elevator is designed. So rest your fears of that, because that's not how elevators work.
Well, in the movie's defense, though, on this one, that very well may have been the Red Queen doing her thing at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
fair
what
point.
I was thinking.
Sure.
So it's not just a mechanical failure; it's manipulation.
I believe elevators have not it's not like a
electronic
thing. Yeah, it's not like a thing a computer could control. It's like a fail safe. But we'll say the Red Queen did this. Yeah. All right.
But anyway, after that, it's kind of it's a suspenseful death type of thing. You don't know what's gonna happen. So then we pan to Alice. She's laying down in the shower. Come to find out, she was knocked out for some reason. But and then. Who comes first, the police officer guy or the SWAT team?
Right. They all get congregated down into the Hive, and a big question we could bring up is why did Alice and Spencer, is that the guy's name, Mr.?
Yeah, I think so.
Why did they have to be brought down into the Hive too? I'm not sure. So that was unclear to me, but either they all get down into the Hive, right? Like eventually you end up in the Hive with these military guys. which I did anyone understand when they came in? Was it ever explained why or who they were? To me, they
What,
were just
the SWAT team members?
yeah. Who
Yeah,
were
they
they?
were they're working for the Umbrella
Mm-hmm.
Corporation as well.
Oh, okay, so they're employed by Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
at the time when the movie was happening, they explained that they were under the Umbrella Corps was under the impression that the Red Queen had gone haywired and
Right.
murdered all of the
people.
and effectively murdered all of the workers in
Okay.
the hive. So the
Gotcha.
SWAT team was sent down to effectively
Shut her
destroy
down.
the Red Queen. Shut her
Okay,
down.
I must have missed that exposition because I saw the SWAT team. I'm like, wait, did we know who are these people?
Yeah.
Yep. And
It was
then
kind of the plan
yeah,
that they were
and
trying to do.
Okay.
I do agree though. At the time I didn't fully understand why they dragged the one
Right.
guy with him. It didn't seem to make any sense. What's interesting is that he still had a plot thread connecting him to the hive, but
why would they bring him there? Like,
Yeah.
anyways, we will just kind of believe that and say okay. I guess.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why they would bring her to, or why they didn't know who she was.
Right.
If they were working for Umbrella, as we later find out in the movie.
Mhm.
But it's just, yeah, they find, I think his name's JD in the train. And so then they all travel on the train. Turns out they only have a certain amount of time to escape because the blast doors will close.
Right.
So they're taking the train in. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And they don't see anybody. They don't see any bodies. There's nobody around. And then they're standing in a hallway and a floating body like floats up against the glass and it scares you. So it's kind of trying to build suspense that obviously something evil is gonna come at them or happen. And so they make it out to where they need to, doing all the technological tricks, hacking everything, breaking into the mainframe, all that bullshit. And then they make it to what was the cafeteria it was called, like on the map, it was called the, I don't know, cafeteria B something like that.
Is that before the kill hallway?
That was, before the kill hallway.
Right. That's right before the kill hallway, right?
Right. So, so then, they're out there and then they figure out their plan. They need to go essentially use the EMP to shut the Red Queen down. And so 2 people stay, I think, back.
Yeah,
right?
People stay back. People go to shut the AI down that's running rampant. And then that's when they come up to the kill hallway, and then
right.
And at this point, I feel like the movie has not really given definition to a lot of the characters. And it's just like you got Alice and the other guy, Spencer, we find out his name later, and then a bunch of military people.
Mhm.
And then you go to the kill hallway, it kills some people, and they meet the Red Queen at some point, shut the Red Queen down. Red Queen says, "You're gonna die here," and they ignore her and still shut the place down. Then they go, and then when they leave is when they start running into all the zombies, right?
Right.
Yeah, because the Red Queen was keeping them contained.
Right.
So by shutting the Red Queen down, they deliberately made things worse, which really could just be the movie in itself. It's just the protagonist constantly making things worse.
Right, but the Red Queen, it seems like, also was trying to kill them. I
Well,
don't
like testing them, it seems like.
Right.
I don't think it was that, because if I remember the dialogue correctly, they were explaining what they were going to do to the Red Queen in when they were walking through the hallway, the laser hallway. And she really didn't activate her defense systems until after they mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if that was more the Red Queen of, if they're going to do this, then I had better stop them before they get to me.
So we're almost asserting depth to the Red Queen.
Well, honestly, I mean,
yeah,
I would maybe make an argument that the Red Queen is brutal, but she was probably
correct for
He may
humankind.
actually have been the good guy in this movie.
Yeah, well, okay, so in the process of all this, like they're trying to escape these zombies, and the zombies kill a couple of the people and bite a couple others. We start to see the flashbacks where you see flashbacks of Alice, our main character, who is talking to another employee of Umbrella Corp, I think, about getting secret documents out to expose Umbrella Corp. And then eventually Spencer starts to get his memory back, and he was pointing some kind of listening device to hear Alice talk. And you see that this is where you get the heel turn of Spencer, where he's getting his memory back, and then Alice is seeing it on his face, and it's like there's a gun in between them, and
I got whiplash.
Like they both realize that Spencer realizes, oh no, Alice is the enemy, and then they both race for the gun. Spencer gets the gun. You get a whole scene. And what happens then? Spencer locks them in a room, kind of, eventually at the end of it.
Yeah, he escapes because he realizes that he got his memory all back all at once.
Right. And we find out he's the one
he
who
has the
antivirus.
Yeah, and he has the antiviral hidden with him where they found him first.
Yeah, he knows where it's at.
For some reason, they didn't open. Or I guess it wasn't hid with him, was it? It was
on the train.
Place.
Yeah, he knew where it was though, so he locked them in basically.
But it wasn't with him. I was thinking it was with him when they found him, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
But yeah, so then he runs away to get the antiviral, and then there's a big monster that kills him.
He
mutates.
Yep.
Because
that's what it's called.
I know. We can always count on you for that.
But then we find one of the heroes, or I would say the fan favorite guy, saves them at the last second, opens the door by using they had a fail safe where he could turn off the circuit breaker to shut her down. So they made like a kind of a bargain with the Red Queen to allow them to escape. So he shuts it off right at the right moment, which allows them to escape the room. They escape on the train. They think they're all in the clear. But the big scary monster is still out there, somehow catches up to the train and starts ripping it apart.
Rips through the metal train car while they're on it.
And then Alice tries to save the one girl, and we think everything's okay. Yeah, Rain. The guy that saved them from the room, he dies from the monster. So it was... I get
Everyone
what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, "Oh, everything's good," and then catch you by surprise.
Because so Rain is like a character they've made as somebody they want to make you feel like is a main character, played by Michelle Rodriguez, famous from Fast and Furious movies. And she gets bit, and then they give her the antidote, but they're like, oh, maybe it's too late. And then in this fight scene on the train, you figure out it was too late because she turns into a zombie. And you get that classic scene of oh, this person I knew is a zombie now right in front of me about to kill me.
And then he hit a trick shot on her.
Yeah.
Shot her in the head and then used her dead body to open the bottom of the train car. But then the monster dies by Alice going superhuman spy.
I mean, not really. I mean, she traps its tongue with a sharpened metal pole.
Oh yeah.
They open the trap. They open the trap door floor, the trap floor on the train.
Why does the train have a trap floor?
I don't know.
Well, they used it in the beginning to start the train up, so they threw in that little bit of we need to power up the train. So they had to use the trap door so we could use it later.
So, and then the thing catches on fire and it dies.
Right.
So,
question of the week: do trains have trapdoors?
I was more talking about it because they made it very clear every time Alice did something with her martial arts or something you don't expect her to do. It's very clear. They make it, it's like a flashback, like a muscle memory thing.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say. Exactly. And it's you're overdoing it now. There's got to be a point where you realize, she remembers everything. Yeah. Not just bits and pieces at random times when she needs it.
Right.
But so only two of them escape. Well, the one guy got scratched. Oh, you had something to add, Kudrow? Sorry.
No, literally, I was just gonna say that's like he got scratched by the liquor, so
Right.
that's pretty important.
So they
Right.
escape, and then they're swarmed by these hazmat people, and they're trying to get the antidote into the guy that got scratched, but they couldn't do it. And there's a voiceover by I would assume someone important, Umbrella Corp,
Yeah, right.
saying they want to open the hive back up, and they want to use this guy for some program
Yeah,
that they have.
the
Nemesis
Nemesis
Project,
program,
which
yeah.
is probably gonna come into play, I'm sure, in the next Resident Evil movie.
Right. And then Alice is kind of blacked out, I guess. I don't know. She gets drugged.
Wakes
And
up
then
in
she
her
wakes
paper
up-
outfit.
Right. Hooked up to 50 needles. And then she pulls the needles out, escapes using one of the needles to hack the key card. And then she walks out into the world, and it's a zombie apocalypse. There's nobody to be seen, but everything's in ruins. And obviously shit went down when she was unconscious. And so that's kind of the cliffhanger
There
of
we
what's
go.
to come.
Resident Evil.
Yeah. What do you think, Kudrow? Let's get
Yeah,
your
Cooter,
opinion
let's start at the bottom
Oh,
here.
you want to start? This is new.
No, you got to give us the floor here.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, I feel like we're a little bit pre-ranking. So
No, you don't have to rank it. Just like
Yeah,
give
no,
us
just
give
your
us the hot
opinions.
takes. You got some hatred you want to get out about this movie. I can tell.
I mean, I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm very biased against this movie from the onset. I really don't like Resident Evil. I don't even like the good Resident Evil.
But this
content.
wasn't. See, the thing is, you don't like horror movies, but I don't feel like this was really a horror movie.
It's more like an action movie with horror elements. Because one of the things that really bothered me about the beginning was they kept really trying to like do cheap jump scares.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because Resident Evil.
I just kept thinking, like, come on, like, stop, please. You're just making yourself look worse. Let me get what else. But the CGI is definitely dated. That liquor.
All right, let's talk CGI.
Bad.
We're talking.
Can we just call it the
though.
monster?
The monster, yes. I call so in my notes I called it the super monster. Let's talk about the CGI, Kudrow, because I don't think the CGI was great, but if I think about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I'm like, well, this is better than that.
Well, I would hope it's better than that because what was Annihilation was late 90s. This is early 2000s.
Yeah. It's like
so
4
the
years
CGI
later.
should have taken a step up.
Yeah, I think it did if you compare it to Annihilation. I think if you look at Annihilation, this is much better use of CGI.
I
agree. I think, okay, I thought the train scene CGI was actually less bad than the earlier CGI in the movie with like the monster running. I felt like that was really bad.
I'd give you that. I
don't think it was good. I'm not here to say it was good. I'm just saying if I look at other stuff, you know, like Annihilation and I don't. I would agree. The worst part of the movie was the liquor.
Let's see here. What else could I complain about? We have a bunch of apparently very trained SWAT-ish team members, and despite the fact that they unload entire clips into a zombie,
they really do. They like totally panic shoot. Every time.
I understand that soldiers are trained to shoot center mass because there's the most to hit there.
Yeah,
but if you unload an entire clip into something and it just stands back up, I would hope you think to do something different.
No, that's a good criticism that they're like highly trained SWAT members and they can't seem to fucking function with a rifle in their hand.
Well, especially with slow moving enemies, call it.
Yeah.
Like you have time to make a decision. It's not like you're strapped for time and you need to make a split second decision. They're walking at you.
Yeah. If we're still talking about the bad stuff, let's talk about Rain, the character played by Michelle Rodriguez. It just feels like overly acting macho female through like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And does she kind of do this in Fast and Furious too, in a way? It's almost like too overdone.
Very serious.
Yeah. And like to a level of like unbelievability.
I mean,
I
that's
don't know.
just kind of her thing. I feel like
I
that's
Yeah.
kind of
I
the,
think she kind of does that in Fast and Furious too. I don't like that character in this movie. It fits more in Fast and Furious because Fast and Furious is just even more out. Fast and Furious is more outlandish than Resident Evil.
maybe later installments, maybe, but I haven't seen any.
Yeah,
I think I've
later
only seen
ones.
3 Fast and the Furious movies, so
Well, I've seen all of them, Kudra. I can tell you all about them.
I really don't want you to.
So I have an interesting question I want to ask you guys because I
Yeah.
feel like there's some cultural significance to this movie, though.
Yeah, definitely. What's up?
So when it first came out,
Mhm.
wasn't it a pretty big deal? Like it made a blip at least.
If we
Or
put
not.
it in the context, right, like what other video game movies up to this time, I think it probably is pretty good compared to the other movies that have come out. Something we can note if we're comparing it to other movies, same director as the first Mortal Kombat movie, which is
Okay.
probably one of my favorite video game movies. That first Mortal Kombat movie has the same director as this Paul W.S. Anderson. In terms of zombie movies, like if
I was
you
gonna
look
say
at
zombie movies.
yeah, no, I think in terms of early's like yeah, it's before that like zombie craze. It's
Well, I mean,
before The
zombies
Walking
was-
Dead.
Weren't there like old zombie movies like back
Oh,
in like
yeah,
the
yeah.
60s?
No,
70s?
I'm not-
I feel like
I'm not
zombies
saying-
have been around for a long time.
But
Kudra, I'm not saying
there's a
yeah.
period.
I'm not saying it's the first zombie movie, but like post 2009, 2010, zombie, like the idea of zombie things like exploded. I don't know. It got very
It was a big market for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
feel like-
due to the advances in makeup and CGI and stuff like
Yeah.
that, where you can add more detail.
I would agree. This kind of predates that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of was okay with some of that stuff in this movie. I think some of the things Kudrow points out, I agree with, but the other parts I was kind of okay with. Like I things I like are the music. So the music in like super high intense scenes where it gets into like this weird metal stuff, I don't think is good. All of the other music I feel like is amazing for this movie. Kind of reminds me of like Metroid Prime a little bit in like its styling of the not the intense music, the non-intense music. I really like the lower intensity music in this movie. I think it's very good. Cinematography, I think the way a lot of the scenes are shot is actually pretty good. The way the zombie scenes are shot, I feel like works pretty good. A big problem I have is I think like you don't get a lot of the plot until like the last half hour of the movie. It's like for the first hour plus, you're kind of confused about what's going on, and then the last half hour like is like, oh, here's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And that kind of frustrated me a little bit watching this because I'm like, after I got done, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that last half hour. But then I'm like, wait, but like I was so pissed the first hour, it didn't tell me shit. I'm like, I don't know why the hell these people are here, or who they are.
Right.
So I feel like it like waited too long to reveal anything. It didn't have to reveal everything, but it revealed like nothing until
I
like
agree
this
with that.
until the scene where they had the big remembrance, and then here you go. So to me, like that last half hour was a way better movie than the first hour plus.
Yeah. I started talking to Kudrow a little bit about that before
Yeah.
because I didn't have a problem with that because I watched it in halves.
Yeah.
I watched the first half and then I was like, well, that kind of was a waste of my time.
The second half was
And then
way
I watched
better.
the second half. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like now everything is known. I understand.
Yeah.
I got the what was supposed to be the good parts of the movie,
Right.
whereas the first half it was just kind of there.
And then other scenes like I like, okay, how do you feel about the dog scene where she runs up a wall and jump kicks and
Right.
kicks a zombie? I'm like, that's super cheesy, but I kind of loved it. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm here for.
I feel like once you accept this as kind of like a B film,
Mhm.
it actually becomes a little bit better.
Cooter's on the B movie train now. You hear that? Yeah. No, I
Well, yeah, because I just feel like Alice, like in particular, like she does some stuff like they're talking about you can unload an entire like clip of a gun into a zombie in the chest, and it just kind of gets back up. But then I feel like there were other times where Alice just punches a zombie and it just stays down.
I agree. That's
Right.
I
She gets some leg strangles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Kudrow. I agree. It's like in this world, it's like headshot is the only thing that matters, or I don't know.
To be fair, though, I will actually give them the action for this one. Because one of the things they did say was like, severe head trauma or separate, the spine,
Spinal cord.
and you see a few times where Alice breaks the neck of the zombie and it stays down. So, kudos there.
Another cool scene, when Rain shoots a zombie, like she unloads the clip into the zombie and it cuts to the zombie and he just like levitates off the ground and flies back. That was another good
Oh, and yeah, in the cafeteria.
yeah.
Wait, I just thought of a segment within this.
Okay,
For
let's
each
do
thing
it.
we do, we get Kudrow's kudos.
Kudrow's
So
kudos.
he has to say something nice
He's
about
gotta
the
say
movie.
something nice. All right, Kudrow's kudos. What are Kudrow's kudos for this movie?
Oh, so I have to come up with something nice to say now.
No, you already said it. You already said it.
What was Kudrow's kudo?
He was talking about the spinal cord.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go. That's Kudrow's kudo.
Yeah.
We need to get a little animation.
Let me see. Fine. I'll take this shot. Let me see what I can say nice about the movie.
Another actor I want to talk about is the lead police officer guy or military guy.
He's familiar.
I looked his name up. It's Colin Salmon. Anyways, what a cool voice that guy has.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think he's the best actor in this movie. You know what I'm talking about, Kudrow? Like though he gets killed in the kill hallway.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's the last dude who dies in the kill hallway.
That was the biggest upset death for me was that guy. I'm like, oh.
He actually had a brain. He actually tried to move out of the way of the lasers.
Right. Also,
except he didn't think to run backwards.
Brings up another little segment I had, relation to the game. So things in this movie that are like the game or video games. So like Resident Evil, okay, so we have Umbrella Corporation. That's in the game. There's a mansion. The first Resident Evil takes place in a mansion. So this play on the mansion is literally coming from the first Resident Evil game where it takes place in a mansion. Zombie dogs. A big thing in Resident Evil, you had zombies, you had zombie dogs in Resident Evil. So they definitely pulled that from the game. How they kind of are moving rooms to get around away from the liquor. Like that's a thing in Resident Evil games where you have a big bad thing you're trying to kind of avoid by routing around it. Like that's a thing in Resident Evil games. That kind of reminded me of that. And then the last thing is the laser hallway. Like there was a laser that you had to jump over and then one you had to duck under. Like that's the most video game thing I've ever seen. Like that's classic 2D side scrolling.
Good points. Did you have another kudos? Kudrow?
No, that's the only thing you liked about the movie.
I mean, the laser scene was definitely intense, but
I feel like I didn't hate this movie. Like I the biggest thing for me is just that they didn't tell me what the hell was going on until over an hour into it.
Right.
So, but overall, like I think for when this came out, I kind of think the zombie stuff was all right. Definitely cheesy in a lot of ways. I don't know if you call it cheesy or campy at that point, but
You gonna rank it?
I guess I could. I liked the movie. Kudrow's made a good points about the weaknesses of it, and I agree with that. But I feel like it does the zombie thing okay, and it redeems itself in that last half hour of kind of telling a story, making some story around the characters. A lot of it's just super convenient and just like works for the story, everything in the nick of time. But I think it's an okay movie, and I think I'm going to rank it a C. I think it's an okay movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay at a C. I'm staying strong at C. I debated between D plus and C, but I'm like, for a video game movie, it was actually all right. So I'm gonna go with C.
All right. Do you want to go next, Kudrow, or you want me
Well,
to
no,
go?
I just have a question for Colton about his
Okay.
ranking now.
Of course.
Are you saying it's a C for being a video game movie, or it's C as a movie?
I
Because
think if you're just saying as a movie, maybe you have more of a case for a D plus, but we'll go with the C for now. I think it's a C.
All right. Do you want to go, Kudrow, or you want me to go?
I'll just go.
Okay. Sound disappointed.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with Colton. Like, this is not the worst movie we've watched.
Oh wow.
I don't think it's a C. I fully admit the bias is here. I don't even really like Resident Evil's good stuff. So, but
Thanks for admitting that.
Yeah.
It gives good context.
But I don't think this is an E. I don't think this is an F. I feel comfortable at a D.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Quinn, what do you
Considering the movie wasted my time for the first hour or so,
yeah,
I got to give it a D plus.
All right.
I was impressed with the zombies. I think that was one of my most appreciated things about this movie.
I think that's a
I
fair
was surprised.
criticism.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
At the quality, I guess it surprised me. I thought it was pretty good for what the movie
right.
offered.
I thought like the cinematography and like I felt like that stuff kind of worked, almost kind of like how the first Mortal Kombat did, directed by the same guy.
Yeah, there also were some points where the characters were doing something, and I was like, "Why would you do that? That's
right.
It's just so corny.
Why would you even?
Why are
be
you standing
here?
there? Why are you standing there for that long doing nothing?
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff like that. But yeah, I think D plus is a solid rating.
It's a fair rating. All right. So where do we want to put this in our overall ratings? It sounds like we're in the D tier. I think I would agree with putting this in the D tier. So the question is, do we think this is above or below Tomb Raider?
Above.
The original Tomb Raider. I would agree it's above Tomb Raider. Kudrow?
The first Tomb Raider?
Yeah. The best Tomb Raider. Oh no, we rated the new one above it.
I mean, I'm kind of outvoted either way, but I personally like Tomb Raider more, but I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it.
It's not that important to me, but
he's fine with it.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, this is not something I'm gonna fight.
All right, as of right now, then we'll put it above Tomb Raider. Resident Evil gets a D.